guys. It's been a week or so. We are really excited tonight about the selection, about the seeding, and it's been a long week for us. It's been a great week for us because we've been able to sort of shut down a little bit mentally and physically, and rest up. But we have practiced, but it's been kind of a weird week just because we've been really prepping for no one. I thought today our energy level had picked up just because of tonight, knowing that come tomorrow at least we have an idea of potential teams that we may be playing, and so we're once again grateful. There's only 68 teams that get selected year in and year out, and to be selected first, but also to get that #1 seed, which has never happened in this program, is both thrilling, but we're very humbled by it and just grateful for the opportunity that's ahead of us.
Questions for Coach?
I guess, Terry, how did you tailor maybe the last week or so in terms of balancing wanting some rest and,
Sure.
and sort of refocusing with, I imagine, maybe just working on yourselves without an opponent to prepare for?
Well, there were certainly some things that we needed to re-identify going into this week's practice that we had to talk about, and we had to rep, and we had to prep for, and just really improve, and that's coming off of the Iowa, and certainly even in the Big Ten, things that going down the road here that we expect we'll see, and so it was a great week for us to work on things. Certainly us, both offensively and defensively, get some rest. They weren't near as long in duration. I tried to make it short and intense, and so that's sort of how we approached it all week. But I'm not gonna lie, it was a challenge, I think, for these guys to come in every day and get excited about just our improvements and what we were asking them to do. But they handled themselves in the right kind of way, and like I said, I thought today they were really, really good in terms of getting their focus on track.
Tyler?
Coach, was wondering if you just have any favorite stories about Chloe Moore McNeil, any kind of memories that stick out in your mind about her. If not, just how would you kind of describe her?
Oh, Chloe. Chloe, when she first arrived here in Bloomington, I won't make this a really long story, but she arrived here in COVID. And most of you don't know that about her, and so she's a kid coming from West Tennessee. Probably hadn't been out of Tennessee most of her life, and she travels, comes 3.5, 4 hours to Bloomington, and is in a place where she knows a few people. We are obviously become her instant family, but it was really a challenge for her that first season, not being able to go home. She has 3 little sisters at home that she cares for and loves deeply, and likes to see them as well. I think one of the things, I don't have as many stories as I just think about her character and some of the things that she's had to endure, losing her mother at a young age, and then, probably some other obstacles, but then, arriving in college and then not being able to go home. And so the thing that sticks out when I think about Chloe is her pure toughness. I mean, this is a kid that's resilient, but I think I can't overstate it, and it's one of those intangible things that don't show up on a stat sheet on a paper. It's just how tough Chloe is, not just as a person, but certainly as a competitor, as a player. We ask her to guard the other teams, as you guys know, best offensive player, and there's a lot of really good ones in this league, and so to be able to show up every night for her team in the way that she has, I think just speaks to who she is as a teammate, as a person. But I think one of her greatest characteristics that she has is her toughness, and you can't quantify that. You just when you have the pleasure of coaching her and these guys playing with her, that you're playing with somebody that one you can depend on, and that she's going to give you every ounce of toughness that she has.
For Matt and Grace, just being a number one seed, I guess you guys have spent a lot of time this season near the top of the polls, but I guess just what's the feeling like sitting here on Selection Sunday and seeing Indiana pop up on the top line?
Yeah, I think it's kind of surreal. I think it's really cool to see different teams getting those 1 seeds now and just being in those top 5 teams, just because, in years past it's been pretty consistently the same team. So now to see just how much the game has grown and to see all these, different teams, Utah, LSU, up there in the rankings has been really cool to see.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think
You're good.
she hit it on the head.
Skip.
Grace, you've allowed your play to speak for you largely through the last several years. It seems like you've been more quiet and reserved in the press conferences. But is this the moment right now? Is this moment where you've been revealed as a number one seed in the NCAA tournament that you've culminated for over the last few years in helping to build this program? I mean, talk about just the elation right now.
Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty good idea that we'd be probably a 1 seed, but I think to actually see it, on the big screen, actually see that number 1 next to our name, I mean, it's something that looking back on it, I never, might not have thought was possible. So, it's really, special, like I say all the time, just to see where we came from when I, first got here in 2018 to where we are now. It's definitely, one of those moments where it kind of feels surreal.
Zach.
For any of you, is there any advantage in your mind in not just knowing your first weekend venue, but your second weekend venue? And I know you don't want to think too far ahead in terms of you're not going to look past opponents, but just knowing that if you do get through the first weekend, with all certainty where you're going the second weekend.
Yeah, I think we're excited. I don't think, and again, nothing against Seattle. That's a long trip, and so I think we're thrilled with, if we can play well enough here in Bloomington in front of our fans, and we can get to that second weekend. I think we're very thrilled with the thought of, where we're being sent. And so I don't know how these guys feel, but I think a great dose of sunshine is, hopefully in our future, we hope. So.
Yeah, a question in the back, Jackson. Oh, Ari's got it, and then a question in the back, sorry.
This is for any of you. How nice is it I did of this research earlier, the lowest combined number, the men had a 2 and the women had a 6 and 83 and 8. The other combined numbers have been almost double digits. So how nice is it, to have a combined number of 5, the men are a 4, you guys are a 1, to have that combined number of having 2 teams that are so strong this year, to have, 2 teams with legit aspirations with you and them.
Where do you come up with this?
I'm going to pass on that. Math was not my strong suit in high school or college, so I'm gonna pass to Mac or Grace for that.
Can you comment about just the men being in tournament and of course?
So that would have been way easier to ask. Are we excited about our men?
About having 2 combined
it's,
teams so good. That's what.
This is what Indiana basketball is, right? Our tradition is on both sides with men's and women's basketball, and to have our men playing also in the field of 68 is certainly, I know it's the expectation for Hoosier Nation, for our fans, and so I think everybody should be excited about that. Both programs right now are delivering on what everybody expects us to do year in and year out, and that's get to the be playing in March. How about that? So we're excited.
Question in the back.
Terry, I have a calculus problem.
It's like 8, 5, what?
No, but just see what this program has done. You talked about the 1 seed and regular season title, but earlier you talked about there's still more levels that this team can reach.
Sure.
Does that add excitement for you as a coach, knowing that there's still so much more that this team can build?
Oh, no doubt. We talk about it all the time. This will never arrive, and our players know this. We go into every practice with a plan of, especially the areas that we know we have to improve on, and there's a lot. We try to really mix up what we do day in and day out. Because we know there's no ceiling really. I mean, we just have, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball, whether it's offensively, how we're going to attack pressure in the future, because that's going to happen down the road. We know that, what we're going to do and how we're going to handle ourselves against a great zone team. Because now once you get into the field, it's, you're playing different opponents, not that it's ever easy in the big, but you can, sure enough, a little bit of tendencies when you're inside of conference play. But, yeah, I've always said this about this group, because of the balance, because of the talent, because of their competitiveness, how business-like they approach each game, that, the sky's the limit for this group. It really is. They can accomplish whatever they set their minds to. Our job as coaches and our staff, we just try to help them and prepare them as well as we can. But ultimately, we know that, the resume that we put together is because of these guys, the players that, compete in between the lines, and, they're responsible for the #1 seed.
Terry and Mackenzie's point about how, different #1 seeds and some different teams are kind of rising to challenge those powerhouses. How have you seen that develop in the games, the women's game over the years? And I guess too, what does it say about the development and growth of the game over the years?
Well, I think it's great. Let's think back about 2018 when Virginia Tech was here, right? And we played them in the WNIT championship. And so, it's a different team, just like Indiana's a different team that you don't really see, as a #1 seed. I think the parity, I answered this question earlier today. I think it's so great for women's basketball, and I think it's great for fans that are women's basketball fans that, I think have really been waiting, for this moment in time where, and no offense to those other, schools, the Stanfords and the South Carolinas, that, traditionally, in the UConns that are, show up, all terrific programs, and to sustain and be able to do what they have been able to do is unbelievable. But, I think it's really great for our game that there are other teams now, that, are, I think that it's changed everything. And I think it's really, I can't tell you how good I think it is for our game, as a whole.
We have one more question in the room, and then we'll take any Zoom questions. If you guys want to go ahead and raise your hand if there's any questions on Zoom. Go ahead in the back.
Question for Grace. I drove up from Louisville. I know there's been people that have just been already reaching out. Just what's that excitement like to be able to play in Assembly Hall, where I'm sure family and friends will be able to drive up to see you play? And just for this, I guess, last go around, what does it mean to you to try to have some special memories?
Yeah, it's been great, just to see people that I haven't seen in years from Louisville make the 2-hour drive up to Bloomington to support, not only myself but our team and our program, and they've been great. So, I was really fortunate to come from a place, for as much as Indiana loves basketball, Kentucky, loves it just as much. So maybe not just as much, but second best. So. But I grew up around the game, so just to see that support from the local community, even as a Hoosier, has been really special for me.
All right, we'll go to Zoom questions. Drew, go ahead.
Drew Monson with the Portland Press Herald. I was hoping that, I talked to you earlier in the season about Mackenzie's play and just kind of the progression you've seen from her. It just seems like every time I talk to you, it's, she's gone from an impact player of the team to an impact player in the conference, and now with the Defensive Player of the Year and the All-American status. Just talk about the level that she's reached and the caliber of player that she has become.
Well, she's had an unbelievable year, but Mackenzie would be the first one to tell you that, as we always say, there's always room for improvement, and no one has worked harder or as hard. I got Grace Berger here as well, as these two have on their game, and one of the things about being a part of our program is we always talk about, you have to do more than what is required. And these two have, been so great in just helping us with the culture that we've created here, with this idea that the only way that this is going to work is that if you decide to come in and you do the work on your own with your coach, your position coach. And Mac has, even on her off days, there's usually a ball bouncing down there, and whether it's shooting free throws, Mac has committed herself, has changed everything about, from her eating habits to, just everything. She's right in front, has become in front of our eyes, just this awesome, talented post player that I would put up against anybody in the country.
Kevin, go ahead. Kevin Beer, are you still on there? Yep, there he is.
This is for Mackenzie and Grace. Looking back at last year, obviously you guys made it up all the way to the Sweet 16, but what can you guys, with that experience, what can you guys take into this tournament, and what did you just pretty much learn from last year?
Yeah, I think that any chance you get to play in the high-level games that we play in helps you later on down the season for the tournament. So we played in a good non-conference, and obviously the Big Ten is, I think, the best conference in the country. So we're going against tournament-ready teams every single night. So I think that helps us along with our past experiences in the tournament as well.
Seth?
Terry, when you talked about, getting,
I can hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you talked about getting ready mentally and physically over the last week, and I know at the end of the Big Ten tournament run, you mentioned just you guys were a little bit nicked up. Just how are you all doing physically, and especially Keandra, who had that injury up in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I think we're feeling. I think the time off, the rest has really been. It's a very. First of all, we play in a very physical league, and so. It's as much physical as or mental as it is physical for us, just because of how we prep and we put so much on these guys. KB, I think is, from what she's been to the doctor, we feel like we're just dealing with sore muscle. So we don't think that, it's anything of significance. Not that, that doesn't mean that she probably you'll see her this weekend in terms of playing. I think she will be out another, maybe a couple weeks, and then she'll be reevaluated right now. But she is, she has not been practicing with us. She has been in practice, and so I guess the answer to your question is I think the news that we got is probably the best case scenario for the shot that she took to that hip.
For Mackenzie and Grace, what all just do you remember about Chloe when she got here as a freshman, and just what sticks out to you in terms of how she has grown to now?
I mean, like Coach said earlier, she was always, really mature, really smart, really competitive, and I think you could tell that early on in her freshman year, even when she maybe wasn't, getting a ton of time on the court, she was really competitive and contributing in practice, almost like an upperclassman. She's been, it's been, really special for me, kind of seeing her from when she first came here to where she is now. Obviously being, taking on that leadership role, and just being super confident on the court, and just improving every area of her game. So just seeing the hard work she's put in to get to the point where she is now, I think it's been super special.
Can I do anything you want to add about Chloe?
I mean, I think Grace hit it on the head. She was definitely really quiet when she first came in, but just getting to know her has been such a blessing, and being teammates with her has been a blessing. And I think she's just proved that, if you work really hard every day and you trust the process and stick to the process, you'll reap the benefits of it. And I think that Chloe is just an outstanding example of that, going from being a player freshman year with very limited minutes, didn't get in most games, to a second team Big Ten pick is just incredible.
Last question.
I think we laugh at her every day just because of her accent. I mean, if you get it any time to be around
over
her,
it, though.
right?
She's sick of it.
I mean, yeah. So.
Can you do one?
No, that's crazy. She'll say stuff like that. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Mackenzie, how are you feeling physically? And then for both you and Grace, how did you guys balance the trying to stay sharp and working and also resting and recovering ahead of the tournament?
Yeah, I think we've all just been really trying to get healthy, feeling good again. You know, that Big Ten season is no joke. So afterwards, I think we all just kind of took a deep breath and tried to get ourselves feeling good again.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I missed a lot of time, so my body's probably a little fresher than it normally is at this time of the year, so, I mean, I felt great.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.